There is a famous story that is brought down by our sages that speaks about a time after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, of our holy temple in Yerushalayim. Yirmiyahu HaNavi, the prophet Jeremiah, was coming back to witness the aftermath of the terrible destruction and the havoc that had been reaped on Yerushalayim. And he came and he saw the stones lying there. He saw the ash was still smoldering. And he was so overcome with emotion and with pain and with sorrow that he threw himself upon the broken stones of the holy temple of Yerushalayim. He was crying bitter tears. At that moment, one of the greatest philosophers of the generation, Plato, was also walking through the streets of Yerushalayim to witness the destruction that had taken place. And when he sees this elderly sage crying his eyes out, he walks over to him and he asks, "Excuse me, are you one of these sages of the Jewish people?" And Yirmiyahu lifts up his head, and with the tears still streaming from his eyes, he nods yes. And Plato asks him the following two questions. If you are such a wise sage of Torah and of the Jewish people, why are you crying over a rubble, a heap of stones and of wood? And secondly, if this temple has already been destroyed, why are you crying such bitter tears over something which is no longer in this world? Yirmiyahu looked at Plato and he asked him, "You are certainly one of the wise men of Athens, aren't you? Tell me, there must be at least one question that you have, philosophical, that has bothered you for years that you don't have an answer for. Is that true?" And Plato, with great haughtiness, looks at Yirmiyahu and he says, "Not only do I have one, I have many questions about the meaning of life in this universe that nobody in the entire world has an answer for." Yirmiyahu said, "Ask me your questions. I will answer them." And so Plato goes into his litany of questions that he has. And in an instant, Yirmiyahu processes each and every one of them. And in one fell swoop, he answers all of the questions that have been bothering Plato for years. And Plato is stupefied. How does a human being of mortal flesh and blood have such answers to my deepest questions in the history of the world? And at this point, Yirmiyahu points to the stones of the Beis HaMikdash. And he says, all of my chachma, all of my wisdom, all of my insight, of my genius, of my deep understanding of the mysteries of this universe, they all stem and emanate from the stones of this Beis HaMikdash. The Kedusha and the holiness and the sanctity that is there has made me who I am today. But your second question, why it is that I cry bitter tears over the past, bitter tears over a temple that once was, bitter tears over a temple that was destroyed, that question I cannot answer you, because you will not understand. And with that, they part their ways. Says the altar of Kelm, what is the answer to the question of why it is that Yirmiyahu was bitterly mourning over the loss of a temple that once was destroyed? What were those tears of the past that Plato accused him of? Says the altar of Kelm, the answer is Yirmiyahu was not crying over the past. They were not tears for what once was. Rather, those are the tears of the future. The tears that Yirmiyahu understood will unlock the oppression, and unlock the exile, and unlock the destruction, and allow Klal Yisrael once again to dance and to sing in the Beis HaMikdash, once again to be united together ba'achdus as one, and once again when the glory of Hashem, His great Shekhinah, will fill up the edifice of the Beis HaMikdash down here and allow its Kedusha to spill over to all of Klal Yisrael. And this is our avodah, our work on Tisha B'AV. The tears that we sit on the floor and we cry over are not so much what the past was, not so much the destruction of the Jewish people, but rather we cry for the future. We cry because we can't look and bear to see anymore Klal Yisrael in the situation that we're in. We can't understand anymore how the assimilation has become so great and how we have traversed so many thousands of years of the gullus, of the exile. And we know that the secret to our redemption is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu never turns away the tears of the Jewish people. And with those pure, simple tears of every Jew on Tisha B'AV, He will unlock the gates of our exile and He will bring us to the ultimate redemption. May we merit that on this Tisha B'AV, instead of finding ourselves sitting on the floor, mourning over the loss of once what was, may our tears turn into tears of joy as HaKadosh Baruch Hu unlocks the gates, brings us to the ultimate redemption, where Klal Yisrael together as one will be singing and dancing shiros v'tishbachos, songs and praises, in the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, the third Beis Hamikdash, b'mheira v'yameinu, speedily and in our days.